Let me check out my mixer just to make sure, just to double check here. Oh, yep, there's my ugly mug. Hey, let's go. Word. All right, so I'm here today. This is Kyle High Club MMA episode number 27, I believe. And I will primarily be talking about UFC 249, Ferguson versus Gaethje. Move my windows down here. Initially, obviously, if you're an MMA fan, you know that initially this UFC 249 card was supposed to be between Tony Ferguson and Khabib. Because of the Corona stuff, Khabib got stuck in Russia or Dagestan, so can't fly over to the States to compete really at all right now. And I think he's about to start Ramadan. I'm not exactly sure when Ramadan is. Maybe I can Google that real quick. Ramadan. So he has to fast and stuff, so it's kind of hard to change. Yeah, so it began April 23rd until May. So he's going through it right now. So there's no way he could fight and train at full potential. Thank God Justin Gaethje stepped in. Now we have the original fight between Tony and Khabib is obviously crazy. But this one is just as crazy. You have two guys that are fucking, just some of the most exciting fighters in the UFC, right now and probably ever in the history. Justin the Highlight Gaethje, his name's the Highlight, and then Tony El Kukui, which means the Boogeyman. So you got the Boogeyman versus the Highlight here. It's going to be an exciting fight, and I'm actually, I was originally bummed out that this event was supposed to take place a couple weeks ago. I forget the date, honestly. Now I'm April 24th, I want to say, and 23rd. But they pushed back because of this Corona stuff. It was originally going to take place on an Indian reservation in California. But I forget what happened. Oh, ESPN and Disney kind of shut down the UFC. It was like, no, you're not doing events. It is what it is, though. But now, here we are. This event will be on May 9th. It is May 6th today, Wednesday. I'm not even going to throw out a disclaimer there about it possibly not happening or not. I'm not putting that juju out there in the world. But, yeah, fights are going to be taking place this Saturday. And I'm fucking excited, man. I've been waiting for fights for weeks. Been waiting for live sports, something to watch. Obviously there's TV and Netflix shows and Tiger King and all this bullshit out there and all the live debates or press briefings on Corona. None of that stuff really interests me. But I guess sports do because I grew up competing and, still enjoy watching them and have obviously got into MMA, or at least watching it. Yeah, just really excited for these fights. As far as this opening card fight, or I guess this is the first time I'm actually doing one of these MMA podcasts, actually live and on video, I believe. And I'm trying to do it noteless. I have my notebook in front of me, but there's nothing in here. I literally wrote, I don't know if you could see it on the computer, but I literally wrote UFC 249 and it's just 2 blank pages there. I was going to start writing notes like I normally do, but I was like, fuck, that's going to take like half an hour, 45 minutes. And there's so many good fights on here, man. Obviously it will be better produced and I'll have more background information in the back of my head and front of my head, to be able to convey right now. But there's so many good fights, and it's been so long. I think I should have no problem getting to an hour here. I'm already at 5 minutes. I haven't even talked about anything yet, or any of these fights. So let's try to get into it then. Again, this is UFC 249, Ferguson versus Gaethje, taking place on May 9th, 2020, obviously. It will be at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. The main card, this is a pay-per-view event. The main card will start at 9 p.m., obviously on ESPN pay-per-view. The prelims will be on ESPN and ESPN Plus around 5 p.m. Eastern. Or no, that's I guess that's Central for me. So 9 p.m. or 10 Eastern for the main card, 6 p.m. Eastern for the prelims. Let's see, should I start at the bottom of the card and work the way up, or hit it off right off with the bangers? I'm gonna hit it off with the main card first. Instead of going the prelims bottom up, I'll go top down. In case you only give a fuck about one of the top fights or the top couple, you can just fuck off out of here. But the main event, obviously between El Kukui, Justin, highlight Gaethje, both 5'11". This will be at 1 foot, 155 pounds, the lightweight division. This will be a title fight, although it will be an interim title fight since Khabib is the title holder. As I said before, he's not competing. So this is for the interim belt. Ferguson is 26-3 in his career. Gaethje's 21-2. Both are, it says here, both are orthodox fighters, but Ferguson likes to switch up his stance. He's very unconventional. I wouldn't say he really has a stance or a style. He just kind of free flows and does his own thing. Really, nobody fucking fights like this guy. He's. I was about to say he's kind of like a Wonder Boy Thompson in the way that no one really fights like him, but Wonder Boy, fights like that karate style. You can kind of define him, to a certain point, kind of put him in that karate box. Whereas Ferguson, you can't label that man, except for El Kukui, except for the boogeyman, except for badass or whatever. He doesn't really have a set style, which makes him so dangerous and so hard to prepare for. Why I was so fucking excited for him to fight Khabib finally, but nope. But nonetheless, this will still be a great fight. As I would try to get into before, I'm excited. This is actually taking a couple weeks later because of Gaethje kind of accepting this short notice without a full camp. He'll have a couple more weeks in him to train, prepare, get his cardio up. I remember originally when he said, or when he accepted this fight with Ferguson, it was going to take place in April, a couple weeks ago. He said he had 15 minutes of fucking hell, of pure hell, or 18 minutes or something like that. But it's going to be a 5-round fight. That's 25 minutes. And if you're fighting Tony Ferguson, there's a chance it doesn't go the full because he'll fucking cut you and get you out of there, but you have to be prepared to go the full 25 minutes and then some. He brings drags guys down in the depths of the ocean, so to speak, deeper than they've ever gone before. And he's a tough guy to watch or fight, but both guys are fucking super exciting. I'm so excited for this fight. I'm so excited for the whole card. The whole card is amazing. As far as odds, Ferguson's, I'm getting these odds from just ESPN's website straight up. I don't know how often they update these. I say these all the time when I'm doing these podcasts. I use my bookie for when I'm actually betting and placing money on these fights. So I'm just going to check real quick to see how similar their odds are to what ESPN's got up here. I guess not very similar. But Ferguson's minus 175 and Gaethje's plus 145 there. So that's pretty close there. Let's see. Cool, they got it right here. It's pretty close. Yeah, pretty much spot on. So I'll just use the ESPN numbers so I'm not have all these tabs open, possibly slow down the stream and all that shit. I actually really like those odds. I think when I looked at them yesterday, they were I guess further apart. I thought Ferguson was in like the minus 190 range. So it looks like more money's coming on Gaethje here. And if that line drops even further and they start to get closer to even odds, I think I'm gonna put money on Ferguson and maybe a decent amount. As the many reasons I stated before, I love Ferguson. He's a boogeyman, and I don't think you can finish that guy. I think I don't think I was gonna say I know, but I don't really know because I've never been hit by either individual. But I believe Gaethje has more power than Ferguson and has a higher chance of hitting that one punch knockout. But I also think Ferguson has thousands of ways to win, whereas Gaethje probably that might be his only way to win because he's not going to outpoint Ferguson or out technique or out I don't know. Or, I mean, he might out hustle, outwork. It's possible, but I don't know. I've never heard of any human being doing that to Tony Ferguson. Um, I think Gaethje's gonna have to rock him, kind of early the first couple rounds, and try to put it on him and finish him. Maybe try to use his wrestling. I don't think he will, um, and it might not even be worth it because Ferguson is nasty off his back. He doesn't mind fighting off his back or on the ground. He actually, thrives there. He thrives everywhere. He thrives in chaos. That's why this dude, I don't know why, but I feel like he wears those weird ass like Matrix shades. At least that's what I call him, Tony Ferguson. For some reason, I feel like he's in the Matrix. He's in like I don't know. He's in like a movie when he's fighting. It just doesn't seem real, but he's fucking everybody up. So I don't know. Even at minus 175, I like Ferguson. If it drops lower, I think I'll definitely place some money on him. Um, Again, that's a 5-round fight for the lightweight title, interim title. The co-main event is between Henry Triple C Cejudo and Dominic the Dominator Cruz. Amazing fucking fight. Honestly, out of all the fights that Henry Cejudo could have made, this is probably the one that I like the most. I'm not gonna lie. I know Cruz hasn't competed since 2016. 4 years now, which I couldn't even believe it was that long. I thought he competed before that because there was a time, before these recent 4 years he was out. He competed for a little bit before 15, and then before that he was also for 4 years. But that was 4 years. He was out. He came back and fought T.J. Dillashaw for the title. His first fight, outpointed him and won that fight. It was a very close fight, but I believe it was 3-2 Cruz. That's how I had it. I think that's how most people had it. T.J. Dillashaw didn't have it like that, but I mean, the guy does EPO. He's got a lot of ego issues. But yeah, Cruz looked phenomenal in that fight, and out footworked, outpaced, out everything Dillashaw, and then he fought Garbrandt, and everyone thought it was too early, and myself included. I thought it was too early of a shot for Garbrandt. Garbrandt went out there and just showed kind of out. He outpointed, outclassed Dominic Cruz just with his hand speed and his boxing. He just stayed technical, stayed tight. He didn't let Dominic Cruz's weird herky-jerky movement, and I know Dominic Cruz hates that fucking explanation, herky-jerky. He gets pissed. He's like, it's not herky-jerky if it's fucking planned and, you do it repetitiously. I don't even think that's a word. But oh my God. Repetitively. Whatever. In some of the videos you see of Cruz, if you follow him on Instagram or Twitter, he puts up of his footwork drills, and you're just like, the base instinct in you as a monkey human is like, you're just like dancing. That's not going to help in a fight. But when he comes out to fight, his shit works. And it seems every time he comes back, he's better, which is unbelievable. Guy's been around forever. He's the first, I think he's the first UFC bantamweight champion. I know him and Uriah Faber kind of paved the way in WEC. Cruz was the champion WEC, I believe, for the most part. And now, out of all the fights, let me get to Cejudo. I guess kind of right in Cruz's nuts there. But Cejudo, obviously a lot of shit on his own he's accomplished. I just talking like Yoda right now, just out of order sentences. Obviously, completed in the Olympics. I believe he got last place, and then the next time he completed in the Olympics, he got the gold medal. Fought Demetrius Johnson the first time at 125. Pretty much got manhandled and outclassed, outworked. 2 years later, he beat him. It was really close, and I thought, my mouth should have stuck around, probably got a rematch, and probably would have won the belt back. But I thought when I watched the fight, I was like, fuck, I think I had it 3-2 Cejudo. But I was hoping the judges, would do some fuck shit and, kind of give it to the champion. You gotta beat the champ to be the champ, kind of mindset. Kind of how some of the judges have been for the John Jones fights lately. I've talked about this in the past. I'm not going to go through them. So Cejudo did that, and then he fought Dillashaw. No, Dillashaw came down to 125, and he smashed Dillashaw in 40 seconds. And then after that, he went up to 135 and fought Marlon Moraes for the title. He was originally going to fight Dillashaw at 35, but Dillashaw, got caught with EPO, suspended, all that jazz. So they stripped him, obviously, and then Cejudo versus Moraes fought for the title. And I actually saw that was a fucking craziest fight, and I'll never doubt Cejudo again. At least his mental will and his mind. His mind capacity to be able to, push himself through pain, through, all those voices in your head telling you to quit, or it's too much, or the other guy's beating you, or you can't do it, it's not your day, just pushing through that shit, realizing all that's bullshit. It's only real if you allow it to be real. It was just amazing physical feat to watch in the moment and actually be in the building and sense the energy of all the fans and crowd around you. I literally went there by myself, but like you feel connected to literally every single person in there as you're watching. Cejudo got his ass beat about the first 2 rounds. Marlon Moraes was just fucking leg kick after leg kick, chopping that 5'4" treat out. And you could tell it was fucking Cejudo up. He could not get inside. He could not implement his game. He couldn't wrestle. He, couldn't get anything off. And then he came out there, I forget which round it finished, but I think it was the fourth. But like he came out there the third and fourth, and it literally looked like he went back to the corner. It was like, fuck it. He's already beat me, these 2 rounds. He's beating my ass. I don't know if I can walk anymore. So I gotta it's either A, you basically give up and quit, but then you look like a bitch, everyone, da-da-da-da-da, you can't sleep at night, da-da-da. Or, I mean, yeah, you really only have, I'm trying to think of another choice, but like, there's really only 1 or 2 choices there. In the moment, you're locked in a cage with another human being. This is for the world title. This is everything you ever worked for. You can't just give up and be like, fight another day. I mean, you can, and people have done that before. In certain circumstances, it's valiant, and others, you're like, wow, you're a pussy. So you gotta walk that fine line, and not everyone's gonna agree with one way or the other. So, all you can do, especially when your leg's about to be broken, you can barely walk. It's like, all right, fuck it, I'm going forward, I guess. If he's going to finish me, he's going to have to finish me. And he's not finishing me unless I go out, on my shield. I go out in a blaze of glory. And that's what Cejudo did, man. It was fucking amazing. He just came out there, just charged forward with, like, I want to say reckless abandonment. And it kind of was because, like, his hands were up, but, like, he just kept throwing and throwing. Moraes would hit him with a leg kick every now and then, but every time he hit him with a leg kick, he punched Moraes 3-4 times and, just kept attacking him, kind of like how Ferguson does to guys, pins them against the cage and just keeps coming and just keeps coming. Trying to keep someone on the outside can only work so long. And that was just a brilliant, obviously a brilliant display of martial arts. It's capable of, physical potential, but also the will and the mind, and the mental capacity. How if you train yourself, if you've been in those situations, enough times where you've been in the fire, you've been in the heat, you've had, someone else's arm wrapped around your neck, and you're like starting to feel your consciousness, slowly creep in. You get more and more comfortable there as, you get into these I guess, vulnerable places, physically vulnerable places too. And each time it's kind of harder, but it's also easier. And it doesn't make sense unless you've been there. And I'm just going to keep moving on because I'm just being high now. And I haven't really smoked. So can't wait for that fight. As far as the odds, Cejudo is actually minus 230 favorite. Cruz is plus 185. And I think that's really just on odds makers. Cruz hasn't fought in 4 years. And just because he believes ring rust is not real, and I don't know. Because I'm not a fighter, but I know, I haven't done jiu-jitsu in about 2 months now. I know when I go back, obviously be rusty. I haven't fucking done it. But if I had been, sitting around meditating and doing drills on my own and like thinking about all the positions, dreaming about it and just living it, 24/7, then yeah, maybe I might not have some mat rust and, come back all cylinders firing, when I go back to class. But, I haven't been doing that. But it is what it is. So I don't know. I like Cruz here just for the odds reason. I also like him because he's 5'8", so Cejudo's 5'4", so he'll have the reach advantage. He should be a little more athletic on his feet, a little more mobile, and he's got a 4-inch reach advantage. But even though he believes it's not real, and he shows it's not real, ring rust that is, time and time again, you don't know until until they actually get in there. And that's what's so hard about picking these fights. Especially during times like this, are guys getting full training camps, or are they working with the same training partners they're always working with? Be very interesting, and I look very much forward to this fight. But I think I will probably place some money on Dominic Cruz, if I haven't already. Can't remember. The two fights already 22 minutes in. Nice. This next fight we got Francis Ngannou versus Josie. I forget how to say his first name, but Rosenstrike. Is it Jazier? Let me open up his fighter profile here so I can actually see. Jairzinho Rosenstrike, something like that. Both guys 6'4". Francis is around 258. Rosenstrike is 242. 83 reach for Francis, 78 for Jairzinho. Both orthodox fighter, both heavy bombs, heavy hands. They'll both be standing on the feet. I don't think we'll see any grappling here. This could be one of the most exciting fights ever in UFC history, or one of the most boring. And I don't even want to put it out there, but it could be. It could be end up being like that Francis versus Derek Lewis fight. We thought that was gonna be all bombs and everything. And, they both were kind of hesitant. I'm very hopeful, and I don't think it will turn out this way, just because everyone hasn't fought in so long. I feel like Francis feels like he's being disrespected, and I think he kind of is being disrespected. He definitely deserves next in line at the title shot in the heavyweight division besides DC, getting that rematch and doing that Stipe DC trilogy. The next guy in line is Francis. There's no other guy. But, he can't just sit and wait around for those two to fight for the title, because I don't know what's going on. But last I heard, that fight's not going to happen this year at all, DC and Stipe, and probably not until like August 2021. So I don't know what's going on. I feel like one of them or both of them had surgery on something, so they need to repair, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. So I had some sushi for lunch. But back to this fight, Francis Ngannou, Jairzinho, Rosenstrike. Francis minus 280 favorite. Jairzinho's plus 230. I like Francis in the fight just because I think I think he's just a more dangerous guy, more in shape guy, more powerful guy. But at the same time, you can't overlook Jairzinho. As we all know, we fought Alistair Overeem there. Basically got outpointed by Overeem for, that was a main event fight for, what was it, about 24 and a half minutes? Not even 24 minutes and 50 seconds. He got outpointed and then landed one like Superman punch and knocked out Overeem, or at least finished the fight with that. So you can't ever count him out. So this fight's going to be another amazing fight. And I wish this was a 5-round fight. But now that I'm saying that, I don't, because they're heavyweights. Maybe they haven't been having the same training camp, so their cardio might not be there as it might usually would. So possibly if it's a 5-round fight, they might gas and it ends up being a boring fight. Because it's 3 rounds, only 15 minutes, still a long ass time in fighting. I dare you. I got a little, I'm not sure which way to bend, but a little punching bag right here, and just get something, do anything, and just set a timer for 5 minutes and do that nonstop. Especially hit a punching bag or hit something for 5 minutes nonstop. It's fucking tough, man. It's hard. You definitely learn how to control your breathing through that shit. I'll tell you that. I might put some money on Jairzinho just because he's the underdog at 230 here, just because he does have that one punch knockout chance. But at the end of the day, I might not do it. It's a little too risky for me, in my opinion. Next fight on the main card between Jeremy Lil Heaven Stevens and Calvin Kattar. What's Calvin Kattar's nickname? I forget. I feel like it's something Boston. Isn't he from Boston? Calvin Kattar. 20-4. Blah, blah, blah. The Boston Finisher. That seems like a weird name. But you got him, the Boston Finisher. He's 20-4 versus Lil Heaven Stevens. 28-17. He's fought a shit ton. Kattar 5'11", Stevens 5'9". Kattar will only have a 1-inch reach advantage, though, even though he's a couple inches taller. I guess only 2 inches taller. So, odds. They got Stevens at plus 210 and Kattar at minus 260. I do like Kattar in this fight. I think he's more technically sound in his stand-up. His boxing is real smooth. And honestly, I think he's just a better fighter than Stevens. Stevens has got, I guess he has the veteran chip on him, but I don't think he also has the, I don't want to say he gets too emotional in his fights, but I think sometimes in his fights you'll see he gets hit with something hard, and then he wants to get it back instantly. A lot of guys want to do that. It's just human instinct, especially our male-driven alpha egos. If you are an alpha male or whatever, or if you have testosterone or just have a competitive edge at all. If someone hits you with something, you want to get them back. Thankfully I've never been kicked in the leg or, had one of those leg kicks come to my fucking leg. But, they say, someone kicks you in the leg, your reaction's kind of to kick them back because they're like, fuck you kick me in my leg, I fucking kick you. You punch me in the face, I punch you in the face. It's just how we are, an eye for an eye, so to say. But when I see Stevens do that, if he gets hit with something kind of rocks him, or like not even rocks him, it's just like gains a little respect, he'll come back, he'll try to come back. And I'm not saying this is a fault, but it's a little, I guess, predictable and maybe a little hot-headed, uncontrolled. Again, he'd kick my ass at just saying these things. I can't even say them to his face, because if he kicked my ass, he'd be like, what, bitch, fuck you, you pussy. You're right. But I think Kattar is just the more level-headed guy in there, and kind of just takes what it is. It's just kind of in that flow state, or so to say, and doesn't get too emotional in there. If he does get rocked, kind of sticks to the game plan, and executes his martial art. I really liked Kattar's performance versus Zabit. He definitely won the 3rd round versus him. I believe if that fight went 5 rounds, he would have won 4 and 5, and I think he probably would have finished him. I think he would have won 4 and 5 easily. Zabit was clearly tired there at the end of the 3rd round, was just holding on to try to, save the fight, essentially. I don't know. And that fight was supposed to be 5 rounds, but ended up not being 3 because his management wanted it only to be 3, not 5. Kind of strange, but it is what it is. But I like Cater this fight. Yep. The first fight on the main card here, the opening, bout on the main card between Greg Hardy, he's still going by the Prince of War, versus Jorgen De Castro. Now a lot of people have been taking De Castro here, and I've seen this guy fight. I just couldn't put the name and face together. But now that I've seen who he is, I see why they're taking him. In his last fight, let me pull up here who he fought last. I forget. Tafa. Yeah, Justin Tafa. He looks like Tai Tuivasa because he's got kind of the same tattoos. I guess those are like Samoan tattoos. I'm not entirely sure. So forgive me for my ignorance. But Tafa just rushed in and he fucking clipped him with a nice little kind of step back right hook and dropped him, put him to sleep. Put heavyweights, big ass heavyweight down with one punch. What are the odds here? We got the odds. Greg Hardy minus 210. De Castro's plus 175. I think that's kind of far in my opinion. I think a lot of people are going to be liking that De Castro line, but my thing is just the supreme athleticism of Hardy, and power, and now his technique and his game plan is starting to come along as well. You can tell he has good coaches around him. He's got Dean Thomas around him. I forget which camp that's out of. I should know that. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I haven't been keeping up. American Top Team. Duh. So yeah, one of the best camps in the world. Greg Hardy's got 5 inches on him and a 6.5 reach advantage to go along with 14 to 15 pounds of, I was gonna say weight, but just added muscle. Because Greg Hardy's just straight muscle, pretty much. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he has to cut now, but I bet when he first started, he definitely had to cut down behind that, under that 265-pound weight limit, because the NFL at 265, you're small. Maybe not for a defensive end, especially if you're a speed rusher, kind of off the edge, off the end, which, Greg Hardy was a defensive end, but not really so much fast. He's kind of powerful and just overpower guys and athletic at the same time. Just wasn't strictly speed. So I'm sure he probably was around 280 range, I bet, if he still isn't. Even though they got De Castro here at plus 175, I still don't like it enough to bet on him, just because of the reasons I said, just the pure athleticism over him, strength, especially in the heavyweight division, especially at these guys' level. Castro's probably gonna have the better technique, better boxing technique, tighter. And mainly because that's how he's fought his entire life. At 6 feet at a heavyweight 250, that's kind of small, at least short. I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I'm, how much do I? Fucking 180, 185. So this guy's 2 inches shorter than me, but 70 more pounds, and it's not all weight either. So this guy's used to getting in tight on taller guys, and kind of ripping those hooks, his shots to the body, things like that. I think Hardy would like to keep him on the end of his punches. At the same time, not get into like a crazy detailed, striking match. This fight is probably just going to be whoever lands the biggest shot first wins. So it's going to be exciting to fight, to open up the main card. Originally, they had this co-main event, which is just crazy. I like it here instead. So that does it for the main card. The rest, we got prelims. How many fights we got on the prelims? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prelim fights, and they're all pretty fucking good. Crazy. Again, these will be on ESPN and ESPN Plus. I believe 5 p.m. Central here, 6 p.m. Eastern. The headliner for the prelims is Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. This is the second time they'll be fighting a rematch. I believe Pettis won the first fight. Currently, Pettis is minus 140 favorite, Cerrone at plus 110. Obviously, Cerrone last fought McGregor in the octagon and kind of got demolished there in 40 seconds, and has had some recent eye-opening interviews about just his mindset going in there. He just wasn't ready, and he's really ready to redeem himself. I kind of believe him. I'm kind of ready for a good performance from him, actually. This will actually be at 170. Welterweight division, where Pettis has been, kind of fluctuating between 155, 170. So Cerrone, this will be at 170, which I think will be nice for both guys because they're both kind of tweeners. But it's nice they'll be fighting on the heavier side of their, weight classes that they've been flip-flopping. Who do I like in this fight? Cerrone, 6'1", 5'10". So he's got 3-inch height advantage, but only a half-inch reach. I like Pettis' athleticism and movement better, and you might have the more overall power as well. But Cerrone's will. Oh, thanks for the host, Darius. Oh, Mixer, appreciate it, dog. I don't know who I like between Pettis and Cerrone. I don't know. Originally, when I was first thinking of it, I was thinking Cowboy because he's coming off that bad loss against McGregor. But at the same time, Pettis has been fighting some good guys. He knocked out Wonder Boy there at 170 with that flying Superman punch off the cage, which was just outstanding. Fucking Showtime doing Showtime things. But he's also had some setbacks and had some losses, versus some guys that really, probably shouldn't lose to. He lost to Diego Ferreira, which isn't, a bad thing. Ferreira is really good, but he's not one of those top name guys and top guys up there in the division. I appreciate the sparks too, to Jerry's. Appreciate it, my dog. Fucking excited for these fights, man. Cannot wait. And having fights this Saturday, and then Wednesday coming up, next week, and then Saturday again. Fights galore. Between Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone, right? So excited for something. Yeah, finally something. Some live sports. Yeah, and if you've never watched MMA before or UFC, this is a good time to fucking get into it. Not shit going on. If you think, two men fighting in a cage is barbaric or, some bullshit they did in Roman times, watch it. And try not to get excited. But yeah, I don't know how this Pettis and Cerrone fight will go. Might bet a little cash on Cerrone here come fight night if the line stays in his favor. He's currently plus 110 and Pettis is at minus 140. I've already gone through the main card fights, so if you're hopping in here now, I apologize. But I will have this recording downloaded later. Put it on my YouTube, my website, and also audio version on iTunes, all that bullshit. Or podcast app or whatever. Next time I should screen share and actually show what I'm showing. And have like a little split screen of my face and the fights I have up on my computer and what I'm actually talking about. That'd be cool. I'll definitely do that next time. But this next fight is between Alexei Olenek, a heavyweight fight between Fabricio Verdum. When was the last time fucking Verdum fought, man? It's been a while. Olenek has been super, super busy lately, even competing in like grappling competitions. Like, he compete in EBI? No, he competed in like I believe he faced Gordon Ryan, who's kind of regarded as the top submission guy in the world right now. in one of those quintet fights. He didn't compete in like the quintet team style match, but he did a what's it called? Not a showcase, but I don't know. They just did a one-on-one fight. I forget what it's called. They have like a name for it. Whatever, doesn't matter. But Verdum, when did he last fight? He last fought Alexander Volkov in March of 2018, so 2 years now. Damn, I needed that water. Yeah, he fought 2 years ago. He fought Volkov, got knocked out. Had a couple wins before that, but it's been a while. But the guy he's facing isn't really a stand-up guy. In Olenek, he's more of a, jiu-jitsu practitioner. And Verdum is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the heavyweight division of all time, as well as, actually having a decent ground and pound game from the top and defense from the bottom, as well as I'd say you have the edge in the stand-up. So I got Verdum all day in this fight, even though I like Olenek and his jiu-jitsu style. His old man jiu-jitsu style. He's like fucking 50 years old, still fighting dudes and choking guys out off his back too, which is amazing. But I like Verdum. He is minus 320 betting favorite with Olenek at plus 250. So not much volume in there. Value. What did I say? Volume. Not much value in him there. But maybe you could put that into a parlay here. With some other fighters that you think are kind of guaranteed to win. This next fight in the prelims is between Carla Esparza and Michelle the Karate Hottie Watterson. Should be an amazing fight. The women's strawweight division, which is 115 pounds. Esparza is currently the betting favorite at minus 155. Watterson's at plus 125. Watterson's got a plus 2-inch height advantage. But Esparza will have the 1-inch reach advantage. I think the Karate Hottie has better stand-up, better athleticism on the feet, and should win this stand-up in at least the distance fighting. If she can keep Esparza at distance, with their kicks and her long strikes, her long punches, even though she has a short reach advantage, so that might be difficult. It's always more difficult said than actually done. But she... edge in the stand-up department. I like Carla Esparza, especially recently. Her ability to get inside on these girls and rough it up and kind of make it a brawl and just just out brawl these girls and kind of just make it a nasty fight. And that might be a very good path to victory here for Watterson. And I think if Esparza can get Watterson, good path to victory for Esparza. If Esparza can get Michelle Watterson, the Karate Hottie, to the ground, I think it's a whole different realm, especially on top. Her top game is nasty. She is very dominant, can hold girls there, has some nasty ground and pound. So I like her there. I like Esparza if she can get on top on the ground. And I don't even mind if she's on her back. I like her on the ground, period, versus Michelle Watterson. And I like her on the feet if she can get in close, kind of rip that body. But, so she has more past victory, but you gotta get inside to get that, to get inside, you got to get through those legs of Michelle Watterson and maybe take a couple punches on the chin while coming in, which, initially when I first thought of this fight, I was like, oh, Michelle Watterson all day, and I think I actually put money on Michelle Watterson. But now that I'm thinking of it and actually technically thinking about it in their last previous performances, I like Esparza in this fight now. God damn it. Can I take my money back? I can't. Damn it. Well, it is what it is. We'll see come fight night. That's the crazy thing about this sport. You don't know till you know. Like, like in college football that Alabama's going to beat Alabama Southern. You know that the Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins pretty much most of the time, even though the Dolphins have their number a lot of the time. Um, like since Patrick Mahomes is the best guy in the league, that he's pretty much going to carry, single-handedly carry his team to the division and a championship, possibly Super Bowl, and that's what he did this past year. But in the fight game, you don't know shit, man. You don't know if someone's going to get punched, and you don't know if Let's take McGregor and Cowboy for instance. You don't know if Connor's going to come out and shoulder striking and break your fucking nose. Like, you can't predict that in the fight game. That's why it's so hard to predict these, and the odds are so crazy, and everyone has so many different opinions, and why it's so interesting. I guess just moving on from that, we still got 1, 2, 3, 4 fights here to talk about. This next one is between Uriah Hall and Jacare Souza, and I'm very surprised that this fight's so fucking far down on the card. I mean, this is a great-ass fight between two really top-level guys. Souza, one of the top 3, top 5 guys for a long time. He's had some losses recently. Just hasn't looked his best or really looked, all there mentally. Whereas Hall, came into the UFC from the Ultimate Fighter with this crazy knockout. Everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. But now, he had some losses. He's kind of rebuilt himself now, though, and he's kind of climbing his way back up the ladder. And I've heard him talk on UFC Unfiltered with Matt Serra, Jim Norton, a couple other places. He sounds like he's in a really good headspace. And, like, no matter win or lose, he's always learning, always winning, always getting better. Fought Antonio Carlos Jr. his last fight, beat him, submission, or split decision. Bevon Lewis lost to Paulo Costa, beat Jocko. So I guess he hasn't fought, like, the top-tier guys now that I'm looking at it. Even though he has looked good, whereas Jacare's been fighting the top guys for years, man. But he's just coming off a loss, I believe, versus Jack Hermanson. Come on, give me the fight history, bitch. I know he lost versus Jan his last fight. And then Jack Hermanson before that beat Weinman. What just happened? Lost to Gaslam, beat Brudson. So he's been fighting the top dudes, but he's just lost first. Some 2 really tough guys. Blachowicz just beat him, but it was a split decision, so it was close. Honestly, I don't remember that fight, so just saying Blachowicz just beat him, then that doesn't make sense. But he lost to Hermanson back when he was in 185. I think this is this 185 fight. Yeah, this is back down to 185. Jacare went up to 205, fought Jan, and lost. Now he's back down. But before that, lost to Hermanson. But he was supposed to fight Romero for like the number 1 contender spot, I believe. But Romero had to back out, I think, because of a knee injury. And then Jack Hermanson stepped in for Romero and then beat Souza. And Souza didn't look like he wanted to be there. That wasn't the guy he signed to fight. But when a guy drops out a couple days before, you're already ready to fight. You're ready to go. You need this paycheck. The managers, the trainers, the gym that's been training you for this whole thing. Put food on the table for yourself and your family. So you're going to fight whoever they put in front of you. And he did, but he ended up losing that fight. As far as odds go, Uriah Hall's plus 100. It's in there at even money. That's currently. And Jacare Souza is at minus 130. I don't know. Those odds are pretty fucking close. One big thing to point out here. Hall has a 79.5 reach. Souza's got 72 inch. So that's about, if I could still do math, about 7.5 inches there. So that's a huge advantage in the striking department. I think Jacare will have the advantage in the grappling by a long shot. It's just it's going to take a lot of energy to take Uriah Hall down. He's a young, strong, athletic guy. So if he takes him down, he's going to have to expend a lot of energy getting past his punches, his long ass reach, and then, exploding to take him down, and then also, um, using more and more of, that gas tank to keep him down, which is not easy to keep a grown man trained fighter down. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. So I can't really pick this fight, but I can see both guys winning it, but in different ways. If Hall can keep him on the outside and kind of just pick him apart in a stand-up game, I think he should kind of handle it decisively. But at the same time, Jacare's stand-up game's no joke. He's got power in those hands, and he could drop you. He's a thick, powerful dude, and um, it's only 3 rounds too, so he's going to be free. He's been fighting these main events, I think, recently, or at least been training and been used to main event fights. So he might just be able to let it all loose and actually, be able to explode, take him home down, and win this fight. But I don't like it either way to place my own money on it, though. So I'm not sure. That's all I can say. Still got 3 more fights here left. The next one's between Vicente Luque and Nico Price. I believe these guys fought before. I feel like I heard someone say that, but Luque won. I can't remember. But Luque 17-7-1. Nico Price is 14-3. This is at 170 and welterweight division. Luque is actually sitting at -280, whereas Nico Price is +230. I think that line is too far apart. It's too far apart. I actually like Nico Price at that +230, even though I think Luque is the more technical striker and more, crisp and tighter with the strikes. His defense is not always there, and he gets clipped sometimes coming in. And Nico Price is kind of a wild, crazy, little unorthodox guy, and kind of hits you from anywhere, knock you out from anywhere. I think there's a decent possibility that could happen if Vicente's not careful coming in. Nico's wild. He can back up and knock you out, with a punch or a kick or something. Or even jump off the cage and knock you out. Like, who knows what this guy can do? I don't even think he knows, which is kind of like what makes him free, and what kind of makes Tony Ferguson such a fucking great fighter too, and how you can't prepare for him. How can you prepare for the guy if he doesn't know what he's going to do? He's so pure and in the moment and in the fight, takes it how it comes, assesses what the other guy's doing, sees where the opening is, and just does it. He doesn't think, he just does. It's just water. He's just like water. He flow. But I don't know. I don't know if I like it enough to place, seriously on Nico Price. I'd place $5 or $10 on it, just to see if I can capitalize and make, quick little change right there, quick little beer money. I don't know. It'll be an interesting fight. To say the least. All these fights are interesting, man. This card is stacked. A lot of these fights could be, like that fight I just was talking about could headline a fucking fight night. Basically, it'd be a 5-round fight. It's second to last fight that I'll be talking about is between Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell and Charles Rosa. I know last time we saw Bryce Mitchell in the octagon, he faced Matt Sales and got the Twister on him. He won by submission by Twister. As far as Charles Rosa, last time he was out there, he faced Manny Bermudez at a sub as well in the first round. Both guys are young, upcoming dudes. Well, actually, Charles Rosa is 33, so he's not that young. But at least young in his fight career, he's 12-3, and Bryce Mitchell's 12-1. Bryce Mitchell is a very exciting guy to watch. He's from Arkansas, if you don't know. He talks about it pretty much every time in an octagon interview. If he wins, he just yells Arkansas, and he's like, because he's from a small town in Arkansas, and everyone tells him, you can't be successful in the fight game unless you go to a big gym, unless you move somewhere to California or Florida, or down Texas, or one of the big gyms in Colorado. But he grew up there. This is where he's from. He just bought some land there. this is his roots. He's a loyal guy, and he's loyal to his people and his land, and he's trying to show and prove that you don't have to go to, the big top name, I guess, places to be successful. Just like if you're an NFL athlete or a football athlete or any athlete, you don't have to go to big name schools to make to pros. Plenty of guys go to, Division II, Division III, or, some of the lackluster conferences, not the top Power 5 conferences, end up pros, end up being some of the best. It's all about your work ethic and, the people you surround yourself around. And that's what he's trying to prove. He's still very early and hasn't really faced, like, the cream of the crop competition as far as, like, starting to be known as like a contender at 145, and 145 is fucking deep right now. So he's got a ways to go, but he's a fucking exciting guy to watch. He was on Theo Von's This Past Weekend podcast. Theo Von's a comedian, really funny guy, and he's kind of from Louisiana, so even though he lives in LA now, kind of still has that southern drawl and, country. People call him a redneck and whatever, but they just kind of clicked in that podcast, and it was kind of cool to see Bryce Mitchell's personality, getting behind, the guy, the fighter, so to say, I guess. As far as odds, Bryce Mitchell is minus 155, Charles Rosa is plus 125. Mitchell will have 1 inch height advantage, 1 inch reach advantage. I gotta go with Thug Nasty just because I'm a fan. I like Rosa as well, but I just don't like him as much as Thug Nasty, and that's really the only reason. Honestly, I don't know how their two fight styles will play out. We won't know until we see it again. But a very exciting fight. It will be a second fight of the night of the prelims. So it's going to start real nice and early. Now, finally, I made it. Almost an hour, about 57 minutes, 57 and a half minutes. And the very first fight of the night, the last fight I'll be talking about, is on the prelims between Ryan Superman Spann and Sam Smiling Alvey. In my opinion, this is a fucking terrible matchup. One of the worst matchups you could not ever put together, but especially at 205, Spann is just a fucking... He's got a Superman logo tattooed on his chest, just this Jack Black dude, a very good wrestler, very strong, powerful guy. And then you got Sam Alvey, his nickname is Smiling. Sam Smiling Alvey. He's always smiling. Even when he's fighting, even when he's getting punched in the face, the guy's smiling. He's a fucking psychopath. I don't know what else to say. So maybe it's not a terrible matchup. But as far as fight styles and athleticism, I mean, this guy's chubby. And, I mean, he's not going to be able to keep up with the takedowns and just the athleticism and the power from Spann, in my opinion. Probably, and it won't go inside the distance, or it won't go the distance, I mean. I think Spann will probably get him done. Probably in the second, I'm feeling, but in the third. As far as have a 3.5 reach. So not only does he have the power, the strength, he has the size and athleticism. And I think Spann's just hungrier right now. He looked good in his past, not his past fight. I think he got knocked out his past fight. But it was the last fight before that. I have to check here real quick. Let me see. Let's see. What was I talking about my ass here if I was right? Oh, no, I was wrong. He's at least on a 5-fight win streak. So I'm fucking lying. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think what I do know what I'm talking about is I will probably put Span in a parlay bet. I'll put him. Sorry. I know I can mute myself, but I couldn't get to it fast enough. Whew, sorry. I think I'll put what the fuck was I just talking about? I'll put Span and then Verdum in a parlay for sure. Might even put Calvin Cater in there and Francis. Yeah, a lot of interesting bets. But I'm fucking done talking about this shit. I've been sitting here for over an hour now. I'm hungry. And I want to play video games. I want to play video games all day. Before I go, just close it out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the handful of people that stopped by in the chat. Shout out to Jerry Stairs for the host on Mixer, as well as the Sparks who chatted me for a little bit. Shout out to the handful of people that popped in by, probably saw my ugly bald head, and then were like, what the fuck is this? And popped right back out. You get some love too. Let's see, what else? I guess for me, I'll be on Mixer continually playing games. If you're on my Mixer community watching this later on or now, I will be doing more podcasts. I'm going to plan on doing a podcast Sunday after these fights, kind of recapping these fights, and then also trying to get into Wednesday's fight as well. Trying to get my brother in so we can do that together and kind of recap them together and get different takes on what we saw and kind of just shoot the shit a little more lighthearted and not just reading off the screen or me just rambling on about nothing. So I'm trying to do that Sunday for recap these fights Saturday and the fights coming up next Wednesday. And then I'm also going to do during the week, I'm going to try to get one of my friends on to just talk the bullshit, the regular Kyle High Club episodes, no MMA stuff. If MMA topics come up or UFC topics come up, we'll definitely talk about it. But that's not what a week planned for. And then I don't know if I'll have a preview episode for next Saturday's fights, like not these Saturday, because that's what the episode I just did. But there's still fights. I don't even know what that date is, 9. So I guess like May 16th. Probably won't just because there'll be too much going on. I got too much stuff going on. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Check out the social medials if you can and if you want. It would be much appreciated. Kyle High Club 420 on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. For gaming stuff, Kilo Papa BDC on Instagram for daily clips. And then if you know Mixer, that's where I'm streaming these podcasts currently and where I'm playing games live. You could stop in on both in the chat and just chat with me real quick. Or just watch me live if you want, if you're really fucking bored. What else is there? Nothing. I guess personal socials if y'all want that. KCP757 at Twitter and Instagram. I guess that's really it, huh? Let me see if I got anything else written down in my notes. Oh wait, I wrote nothing down in my notes. And I was right. At the beginning of this podcast, I said I've never done a video episode for these MMA podcasts or done it live or done them on Mixer. And I've never done them without notes either. But because this card was so stacked, and I already knew most of the fighters, I believed in myself that I could get to an hour of talking bullshit about fights. And here we are, almost an hour and 5 minutes in. If you're listening to this audio, it's going to be even longer because you got to insert that bullshit ad, which gives me a nice 10 cents if you listen. So appreciate it, guys. Yeah, appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Peace out.